So my name is Mike Kareem. I'm the CEO of Oxford Endovascular. We're a spin-out from Oxford University, and we're working to prevent brain hemorrhage. You may remember in 2001, the actress Sharon Stone, her career was brought to a dramatic end. She was walking down the street. She thought a crazy fan had attacked her and shot her in the head. She collapsed, was rushed to hospital, and was in fact treated for a ruptured brain aneurysm, so weaknesses in the blood vessels that had grown into a balloon shape in the artery and had exploded inside her head. They managed to treat her successfully. She did make a full recovery, but it took her about a year. During that time, she had to learn to walk, to talk, and to be able to see again and be herself again. The cost to her was her marriage broke down and she lost custody of her children. At Oxford Endovascular, we are working to cure brain aneurysms. We have developed a device, a micro stent that goes in through keyhole surgery, a next-generation Flow Diverter. And it's a collaboration between medicine and engineering from the University of Oxford. Brain aneurysms are surprisingly common. They affect 1 in 50 people. Every year, 750,000 patients will have ruptures, and of these, 40% will die pretty much immediately. Of the ones who survive, 66% will suffer permanent brain damage. Now, historic treatments and existing treatments have relatively high complications. So at the top here, you see open brain surgery, which is still a mainstay of treatment in Europe and in the US, and is pretty much the #1 treatment in China at the moment. Obviously, it has high complication rates, and there's a long hospital stay and a long recovery period. Even the gold standard keyhole surgery of coiling, putting micro-platinum coils, dropping them into the aneurysm through a microcatheter, has relatively high complication rates. You've still got the aneurysm present, so there's still a risk of rupture, and you cannot treat all forms of aneurysms with this treatment. In fact, one of our inventors actually pioneered this treatment over 20 years ago and set up courses for people from all over the world to come to Oxford to learn how to do this. That procedure can take anywhere between 1 and 5 hours. It's very painstaking. Now, the concept of diverting flow away from the aneurysm really came into being when the first startup got a CE mark. This was Chestnut Medical back in around 2009, and showed that the concept could be done. The device then is now what's still the market-leading device and has since been acquired by Medtronic. Now, in highly selected patients, it's got relatively low complication rates, but it's never fully achieved its promise of being able to be used for all types of aneurysms. So people have to very carefully select the patients. And the big challenge is that the existing technology, and there are other companies that have made flow diverters, but they're all basically the same braided woven mesh structure that has a lack of radial force, which means there's a poor fit. And this can lead to migration and poor flow diversion as a result. And also where there's a gap between the device and the arterial wall, this can lead to blood clots. And this image from the American Journal of Neuroradiology shows the challenge. So you see it simulated. The device, the woven mesh, is sitting there, going from a 5mm artery down to a slight change down to 3mm on the other side. And this distorts the whole structure of the device, causing it to move out of position or migrate and leaving that gap between the arterial wall. So this is known as the coning effect. You can look in publications, it's very well documented. And thought leaders have said to us, if you can address this issue, as we have at least 50% of our patients where this causes major problems, you'll have a device that will be able to become a market leader. So experts have worked on this. Professor James Byrne, who I mentioned earlier, over 30 years of treating brain aneurysms, working on prototype development, running courses that approve doctors to be able to to treat aneurysms. He got together with Professor Zhong Yu. Zhong Yu did a lot of work on the European Space Project, on satellites, getting big structures to fold down into small spaces. He is an expert in what's known as origami engineering. I've got over 25 years of successfully taking medical devices into CE Mark and market leadership in companies around the world, including Boston Scientific for 12 years, and smaller companies up till the point of Oxford Endovascular. Our chairman is on the board of 3 medtech startups and has worked on IPOs. So, OxiFlow, this is origami engineering for the brain. We take a tube of nickel-titanium alloy, or nitinol. We program into the laser cutting machine with this tube inside it our unique patent-protected device structure and invention. And in about 20 minutes, it cuts this shape all in one piece. It's a combination of S and V structures. There's no joins, no weaves. And this results in a structure that has optimal radial force along its length, combined with special wings that aid with the flow diversion concept. The memory keeps it in place. It can conform to any shape of blood vessel. And we've developed a total control delivery system, which is bespoke to the device, that doctors tell us is much easier to use than anything available on the market, much safer, and has a lot of other benefits as well. And this is what an expert reviewer in the NHS said about our technology when we were at the final stage of a grant funding. So OxiFlow is the next generation flow diverter. Its unique patented design overcomes these challenges. We've got patents in the US, in Europe, Japan, and China. We've simulated the device under the conditions that challenge the competition, and as you can see, it doesn't undergo these problems. There's no new technique required. It will go through an existing microcatheter. The doctors tell us it feels exactly the same as what they're using, only easier. There's no new reimbursement codes that will be required as this comes to market. It will save procedure cost, and it will save time, because you will only need to put one of these devices in. These devices sell for about $16,000 US, and more often than not, they have to put 2 or 3 devices in at great cost and great time, and more re-intervention as a result. So it's designed to expand usage as well and go beyond current treatments. The market is large and growing. It's over $1 billion US, growing at about 8% year on year. And flow diverters, with the challenges that they have, are growing into the space as more people start to use them. However, it's dominated by one big device company, Medtronic. There are other Me Too's, but really they're not anything greatly different from what's available. So what have we done? We've tested it in hundreds of in vitro models. We've done numerous animal experiments. This is just showing results of, after 3 months follow-up in the rabbit model, which is standard in neurovascular, showing aneurysm occlusion. And 2 weeks ago, we got results in at 30 days showing complete aneurysm occlusion in 2 aneurysms. We've also done particle image velocimetry testing, or PIV. This is the most advanced flow dynamic testing that you can do. It's typically used in Formula 1 racing for fluids and gases. Medical device companies don't like to use this because it's very expensive. We got access to this at Aachen University. Basically, you put fluid through a model which has particles in it, shine a laser light through it, pick it up on a camera, put it into a simulation, and you see exactly where every bit of the fluid goes. On the left is what you don't want to see, the high fluid of blood that causes the pressure, causes the aneurysm to burst eventually. With our device in, we've removed that, and we've compared it to a major competitor on the market. This is our development since spin-out. End of 2015, we raised about £2 million. We went through fatigue testing, optimized the design, developed the delivery system, and so on. We raised a bit more money last year. And coming into this year, we're coming close to design freeze and going into our GLP studies. We are looking to raise about £6 million or $8 million US to take us through our clinicals to CE Mark. CE Mark will be around 2023. A lot of people have said, oh, can you do it quicker? Yes, we probably can, but I'm not going to make false promises. So this is realistic. If we get very high patient throughput and humanitarian cases, it will be quicker than that. Our existing investors plan to follow on. We are open to a new strategic investor joining, and by strategic, I really mean someone who understands the medical device space. This is our commercialization route to adoption in Europe. This is the type of process I've worked on before with other companies that I've built successfully and taken to market leadership. There's no real secrets here. It's about building the right relationships, doing this very methodically, and having a great team around you to do this. We already have several non-binding discussions with potential partners, people who've approached us, particularly over last year, looking at licensing and distribution. These are our conservative revenues. Obviously, subject to a partnership, these would be much higher than this, with some kind of strategic partnership. We wouldn't pretend that we would do this on our own. Now, this is an excellent investment opportunity. Not only that, the opportunity to make back your investment multiple times over, and at the bottom here I show but what's typically been the situation in the space, between 150 and 400 million US dollars. But beyond that, it's a chance to help thousands of people around the world not have to suffer or have permanent disability. And as I mentioned, 1 in 50 people have this. And typically every week I meet somebody who either knows someone in their family or someone they've worked with who suffers from this. And a lot of people don't know what they have going on inside them. The good news is the rates of identifying this disease are increasing because of better imaging and more people coming forwards and better screening programs. So I would love for anybody here who's seriously interested in trying to change this and seriously interested in getting involved in making a great investment to help us bring this technology to the market and save lives and cure brain aneurysms. Thank you.